Story 1, The Bum. A bum approaches a well-dressed gentleman on the street. "Hey, buddy, can you spare $2? The well-dressed gentleman responds, "You are not going to spend it on liquor, are you?" "No, sir, I don't drink," retorts the bum. "You are not going to throw it away in some crap game, are you?" asks the gentleman. "No way, I don't gamble," answers the bum. "You wouldn't waste the money on golf greens fees, would you?" asks the man. "Never," says the bum, "I don't play golf." The man asks the bum if he would like to come home with him for a home-cooked meal. The bum accepts eagerly. While they are heading for the man's house, the bum's curiosity gets the better of him. "Isn't your wife going to be angry when she sees a guy like me at your table?" "Probably," says the man, "but it will be worth it. I want her to see what happens to a guy who doesn't drink, gamble, or play golf." Story 2, How to Live. "Darling," said the young man to his new bride, "now that we are married, do you think you will be able to live on my modest income?" "Of course, dearest, no trouble," she answered. "But what will you live on?" Story 3, They Had No Privacy. As a young married couple, a husband and a wife lived in a cheap housing complex near the base where he was working. Their chief complaint was that the walls were paper thin and that they had no privacy. This was painfully obvious when one morning the husband was upstairs and the wife was downstairs on the telephone. She was interrupted by the doorbell and went to greet her neighbor. "Give this to your husband," he said, thrusting a roll of toilet paper into her hands. "He's been yelling for it for 15 minutes. Story 4, A Husband Who Never Feels Ashamed. "I'm ashamed of the way we live," a young wife says to her lazy husband who refuses to find a job. "My father pays our rent. My mother buys all of our food. My sister buys our clothes. My aunt bought us a car. I'm just so ashamed." The husband rolls over on the couch. "And you damn well should be," he agrees. "Those two worthless brothers of yours ain't never give us a cent." Story 5, The Neighbors Cannot See You. Having been married 10 years and still living in an apartment, the wife would often complain about anything, as she was tired of saving every penny to buy a dream home. Trying to placate her, the husband found a new apartment, within their budget. However, after the first week, she began complaining again. "Joel," she said, "I don't like this place at all. There are no curtains in the bathroom. The neighbors can see me every time I take a bath." Story 6, Where's the Shoe? One night, a fellow drove his secretary home after she had imbibed a little too much at an office reception. Although this was an innocent gesture, he decided not to mention it to his wife, who tended to get jealous easily. The next night, the man and his wife were driving to a restaurant. Suddenly, he looked down and spotted a high-heel shoe half hidden under the passenger seat. Not wanting to be conspicuous, he waited until his wife was looking out her window before he scooped up the shoe and tossed it out of the car. With a sigh of relief, he pulled into the restaurant parking lot. That's when he noticed his wife squirming around in her seat. "Honey," she asked, "have you seen my other shoe?" Story 7, Dummy Husband. A man asked his wife, "If you could have anything in the world for one day, what would you want?" "I'd love to be 6 again," she replied. On the morning of her birthday, he got her up bright and early, and off they went to a local theme park. What a day! He put her on every ride in the park, the death slide, the screaming loop, the wall of fear, everything there was. Wow! 5 hours later, she staggered out of the theme park, her head reeling and her stomach upside down. Off to a McDonald's they went, where her husband ordered her a Big Mac along with extra fries and a refreshing chocolate shake. Then it was off to a movie, the latest Hollywood blockbuster, hot dogs, popcorn, Pepsi-Cola, and M&M gems. What a fabulous adventure! Finally, she wobbled home with her husband and collapsed into bed. He leaned over and lovingly asked, "Well, dear, what was it like being 6 again?" One eye opened. "You dummy, I meant my dress size." Story 8, A New Machine. The doctor asked the expectant father to try out a machine he had invented that transferred labor pains from the mother to the father. Billy agreed and the machine was set up. But although it was set to its highest setting, Billy felt not a twinge. Later that day he went home to pick up a few items his wife wanted and discovered the milkman lying on his doorstep groaning in pain. Story 9, Drunk. Bob visited his friend Joe's house and was amazed at how well Joe treated his wife. He told her several times how attractive she was, complimented her on her culinary skills, and showered her with hugs and kisses. "Gee," Bob remarked to his friend, "you really make a big fuss over your wife." "I started to appreciate her more about 6 months ago," Joe said. "It has revived our marriage, and we couldn't be happier." Inspired by Joe's story, Bob hurried home, hugged his wife, told her how much he loved her, and said he wanted to hear all about her day. Instead, she burst into tears. "Darling," Bob said, "whatever's the matter?" "This has been the worst day I've had for a long time," she replied. "This morning Billy fell off his bike and hurt his ankle, then the washing machine broke down. Now, to top it off, you come home drunk." Story 10, How to Buy a Present. A man walked into a department store and told an assistant he'd like to buy a present for his wife. "Certainly, sir," replied the assistant. "Perhaps a dress or a blouse?" "Anything," said the man. "And in what color?" "It doesn't matter." "Size?" "Immaterial." Seeing the assistant's confusion, the man explained that whenever he bought his wife something, she would always take it back to the shop and exchange it. "Why don't you get a gift voucher instead?" the assistant asked him. "Oh no," said the man. "That would be too impersonal." Story 11, Relatives? A couple drove several miles down a country road, not saying a word. An earlier discussion had led to an argument, and neither wanted to concede their position. As they passed a barnyard of mules and pigs, the wife sarcastically asked, "Relatives of yours?" "Yep," the husband replied, "in-laws." Story 12, Your Horse Called Last Night. A woman came up behind her husband while he was enjoying his morning coffee and slapped him on the back of the head. "I found a piece of paper in your trouser pocket with the name Mary Lou written on it," she said, furious. "You'd better have an explanation." "Calm down, dear," the man replied. "Remember last week when I was at the races? That was the name of the horse I backed." The next morning, his wife whacked him again. "What was that for?" He groaned. "Your horse called last night," she said. Story 13, We're Saved Enough Money. After years of scrimping and saving, a husband told his wife the good news, "Darling, we've finally saved enough to buy what we started saving for in 1979. "You mean a brand new Jaguar?" she asked eagerly. "No," he replied, "a 1979 Jaguar." Story 14, Deathbed Confession. Jake was on his deathbed. His wife, Susan, was maintaining a vigil by his side. She held his fragile hand, and tears ran down her face. Her praying roused him from his slumber. He looked up, and his pale lips began to move slightly. "My darling Susan," he whispered. "Hush, my love," she said. "Rest. Don't talk." He was insistent. "Susan," he said in his tired voice, "I have something I must confess to you." "There's nothing to confess," replied the weeping Susan. "Everything's all right, go to sleep." "No, no. I must die in peace, Susan. I slept with your sister, your best friend, and your mother." "I know," she replied. "That's why I poisoned you." Story 15, After the Honeymoon. A young couple got married and left on their honeymoon. When they got back, the bride immediately called her mother. "Well, how was the honeymoon?" asked the mother. "Oh, Mama!" she exclaimed. "The honeymoon was wonderful. So romantic." No sooner had she spoken the words than she burst out crying. "But Mama, as soon as we returned, Sam started using the most horrible language. He's been saying things I've never heard before. All these awful 4-letter words. You've got to come get me and take me home." "Now, Sarah," her mother answered. "Calm down. Tell me, what could be so awful? What 4-letter words has he been using?" Please don't make me tell you, Mama, wept the daughter. I'm so embarrassed. They're just too awful. You've got to come get me and take me home, please, Mama. Darling, you must tell me what has you so upset. Tell your mother these horrible 4-letter words. Still sobbing, the bride replied, Oh, Mama, words like dust, wash, iron, and cook.